Message from the House.
Mr. President, I'm directed to inform you that the House of Representatives has concurred in the passage of the following bill, Substitute Senate Bill number 100, Senators Manning and Antonio and others, to amend sections of the revised code to generally prohibit a person knowingly installing a tracking device or application of another person's property without the person's consent or failing to remove or ensure removal of such device or application from another person's property if the person gives of consent and subsequently revokes it, and to authorize a certain oral fluid as evidence in suspected OVI cases and increase fines for repeatedly selling tobacco products to minors and to apply public nuisance law to places where sales occur. As a substitute bill in which concurrence of the Senate is requested.
Chair recognizes Senator McCauley for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that Senate Bill number 100 be brought up for immediate consideration.
Question is, shall the motion be agreed to? And without objection, the motion is agreed to. The question now before the Senate is, shall the Senate concur in House amendments to Senate Bill number 100? Chair recognizes Senator Manning.
Thank you, Mr. President, for the opportunity to speak to the amendments from the House on Senate Bill 100. Just as a reminder, it has been a while since we voted on this. It was June of 2023. It was unanimous from this body, and Senate Bill 100 prohibits a person from knowingly installing a tracking device or tracking application on another person's property without the other person's consent. This is just the Apple AirTag type of situation that we've discussed previously. I forgot my prop. Hopefully my joint sponsor remembered hers, but it's a really good underlying bill. It was a loophole in the stalking statute because it was hard to prove a pattern of conduct. Now, in terms of the amendments, they included an oral fluids amendment to OVI law. Right now, currently, for OVIs, you can test for intoxication from blood, urine, breath, but really the future and a lot of this drug testing, certainly with marijuana being now both recreational and medical being legalized in Ohio, oral fluids is the more accurate way to see if somebody's actually impaired at the time. Urine is outdated, doesn't really show impairment, and blood is obviously invasive. So I think oral fluids is the future for that type of testing, and we're just, this is being brought to us by law enforcement, and we're just expanding it to that type of testing. Another amendment that they included was House Bill 258 that is currently sitting in Judiciary. We have had a few hearings on it. We're actually planning on passing out next week. This is sponsored by Representative Carruthers. It specifies that fines for repeated violations of the prohibition against selling tobacco products to underage persons, and also expands the definition of public nuisance to include those places of business that repeatedly violate the prohibition against selling tobacco products to underage persons. You know, if somebody is making a mistake, a store is making a mistake and sells to an underage person, we don't want those penalties to be severe, but when you're repeatedly doing this, it is clearly a problem, and that's what this bill looks to address. And like I said, the plan is to vote this out of the Judiciary as long as our fellow members agree with me. And just a few quick thank yous. This bill has been around for 2 GAs. I want to thank my former legislative aide, Brendan Embry, who is hopefully not watching this and studying for law school. Also want to thank Lindsay Murch, my current LA. I'm not thanking Brady because he said, quote, I didn't do anything on this bill, but he is doing a great job in our office. Also want to thank Wilcox and Adam Podlabel, our policy people that do a great job in Judiciary. Leader Antonio, my joint sponsor, we worked really hard on this and real proud of the work we've done. Representative Patton, the co-sponsor on the companion bill. Chair Abrams on the Criminal Justice Committee, and Lena Lai, actually an investigative reporter in Cleveland that actually brought this to us. We did not realize that this was illegal, that this was a loophole, so I certainly appreciate her and all the advocates. I urge concurrence. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator. The chair recognizes Leader Antonio.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise to also ask for concurrence on this bill that you don't realize how long some things take, and it was our second go at it because we introduced it in past General Assemblies as well. I have no problem with the amendments that they put in. In fact, I love the amendments. I love that they picked amendments that we were both very favorable to. And I also want to thank my staff, Maya Barnes, Jack Dempsey, Bailey Culp, and I also want to thank my previous staff members because you're right, it has been a while. John Schlosser and Aaron Glossop also. This is, I'm very proud of the work that we did. We had to talk to a lot of people. I learned about private investigators, things I didn't know, and maybe some of us don't even want to know. But through the process, it was also very educational. I also think that it's a good example of how the more you work through something, the more you have interested party meetings, you talk to people who are going to be affected by a bill, and you really want to prevent unintended consequences. I feel like we did a really good job with that. So again, I want to thank my joint sponsor for keeping up with the communication, and I urge a yes vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Leader Antonio. The question is, shall the Senate concur in House amendments to Senate Bill number 100? Please call the roll.
Antoni? Yes. Antonio? Yes. Blessing? Yes. Brenner? Yes. Chavez? Yes. Sereno? Yes. Craig? Yes. Catrona? Yes. DeMora? Yes. Dolan? Yes. Gavarone? Hicks Hudson? Yes. Steve Huffman? Yes. Ingram? Johnson? Yes. Coonsey? Yes. Landis? Yes. Lang? Yes. Manning? Yes. McCauley? Yes. O'Brien? Yes. Reineke? Yes. Reynolds? Yes. Rogner? Yes. Romanchuk? Yes. Schaefer? Yes. Smith? Yes. Sykes? Yes. Wilkin? Yes. Wilson? Yes. President Huffman.
Yes. With 30 yeas and 1 nay, the Senate does concur in House amendments to Senate Bill number 100.